the executive director of something called the Convergence Design Lab, and we're based in Chicago. And my co-founder of Convergence is Margaret Conway. Margaret.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here too. I'm Margaret Conway, and I am the Director of Learning at Convergence Design Lab. And we'll talk a little bit more about how we work.
Let's do a thumbs up if you've ever played with Mural before. We have some beginners and some intermediates and some newbies.
Yeah, nowadays, I mean, you're probably more likely to have seen it, but it was actually kind of new to me as well. So just to share, if everybody could eventually get to the link that Renee shared and join our Mural board, we'll be doing a lot of the interactions and sharing through this. I'll keep my screen shared for now until we get to breakout rooms.
And one good technique for that is to minimize your Zoom screen a little bit so that on one side of the screen, you're watching Margaret as she models, and on the other side, you've got that link open so you can play on the board yourself. So adjust your screen so you can see both windows at the same time.
So one nice thing about Mural is that we're going to use today is the outline feature. So in order to see that, I can make it go away. If you can't see it, there's a little outline icon up in the right hand, kind of upper right hand corner. So you can click that, and we're going to use this outline to navigate what we do throughout the workshop. So if you ever get lost, that is where we're going to be. So in order to begin, the first thing that we're going to start with, if anybody is, by the way, if anybody's kind of lost, Renee is helping us manage the chat too. So if you're lost or anything like that, go ahead and drop a question in the chat in Zoom and she'll help you out. So a thing that we like to do to sort of get acquainted is to have everybody share a learning experience that you've had that was particularly impactful, something that really stuck with you for a long time. That can be a formal learning experience, school, an out-of-school time program, but it could be completely informal too, something that you learned in a way that you've kind of never forgotten that learning experience. So if you could do me a favor and use a little sticky note, if anyone needs help with that, the left-hand side here, if you click text, you can just click on a sticky note and it'll go in there. You can move it around and write on it. And just kind of really briefly describe that learning experience. And if you're comfortable adding your name to it, that would be great too. You can also illustrate it. No, I'm just kidding.
And if you would prefer just to watch, that's okay too. So a lot by watching.
Renee, you muted yourself accidentally there. Oh, Renee, you're muted. There you were.
If you're just joining us now, we invite you to go to the chat room, open up a link, and Mariana, we are hoping that you can join us, but we are recording this chat. You'll be able to see it on the Media Education Lab website in a day or so. So we're using a new tool called Mural, and you can see that people are making short reflections on a learning experience they've had that was particularly impactful.
If you feel like you're sticky a little small, enlarge it. My example one here, use a sticky note that's kind of a good size, or at least not smaller than that.
Can you share again what it is you want in the sticky note? Sorry, I was late in another Zoom.
No worries. You're creating just a brief description of a learning experience you had that was particularly impactful for you. So something really stuck with you for a long time. Any kind of learning experience. Oh, turns out I can enlarge some of them. That's good.
If you're just joining us, we're using the mural to talk about an impactful learning experience in our life and how it made us think and feel. People are contributing their reflections on this question using the mural sticky notes.
Just gonna move this forward.
And you can see there's a lot of ideas, a lot of stories coming forward.
Yeah, if you've already written yours, have fun reading other people's.
Yeah, they're
The
amazing.
They're amazing. I love, 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 love this activity. If you are also, as I am, noticing some themes about impactful learning experiences, go ahead also and feel free to jot down in this little area down here, themes. Go ahead and create some stickies there. What are some themes that you're seeing about impactful learning?
I see where the themes are. They're located just below the place where our examples were. Cool.
You can look on my shared screen too. It's kind of down here. Someone's typing. Yep. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
So I see a bunch of interesting themes emerging here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Learning is motivated by personal interests and needs. It's hands-on and interactive. There's an emotional dimension to it. Modeling matters, mentorship matters. Those are some themes that seem to be emerging from the stories of your most powerful learning experiences.
We're seeing some really beautiful themes here, and we're going to hear about them again. So hands-on interactive, mentorship, new tools, modeling, things being active and participatory, personal interests and needs motivate them. So really, really awesome. So keep these in mind. Go back to them in a little bit. Thank you so much for those sharing. I'm going to move on to the second area. You can either look at my screen or you can look at your own and follow along on the outline. Mindy, did you want to go ahead on this part?
Sure.
We just wanted to talk a little bit about who we are and where we're coming from with the kind of things that we're going to introduce today.
Yeah, so I just want to give you a little background here on Convergence Design Lab. And we can just kind of almost do this as a read along with me here. So I'll just read this and you can kind of co-read it with me here. Convergence Design Lab is a research and learning design agency dedicated to building resilient learning systems. We could talk all for many, many hours about all the incredible work we do, but we work with schools, we work with teachers, we work with young people, we work with out of school time organizations, and we are really interested in helping educators. We love teachers, and we're really interested in empowering educators to think of themselves as designers of learning experiences. And so a lot of our work is really rooted in this idea of connected learning and learning design principles. We designed Passion to Purpose. Our mission was there to help educators cultivate learner agency and civic participation using design thinking and connected learning principles. And Margaret will talk about some of these connected learning principles that we're especially interested in trying to apply to the work that we're doing.
Yeah, so these are just some of the learning design principles that really guide our work and definitely guided the development of Passion to Purpose. So those are: learning is motivated by interests and passions, learning is production-centered, learning is relevant and purposeful, and learning is social and participatory. And of course, those are the themes, right? Those are the themes that came out of our Getting Started activity, which is kind of why we like to do that activity, because people always create a version of this framework in their minds when they begin. And so a lot of the things that we're thinking about when we're designing learning experiences are these how might we questions, and how might we questions are a big part of this passion of purpose tool as well. But for us, we're always thinking about how might we start from a learner's interests or strengths, no matter how trivial, and that's important today. How might we create learning experiences that are grounded in the real world, that are authentic and are participatory? How might we engage learners in something they care about or want to change? How might we make the learner the problem solver? And then, of course, how might we make learning playful? Before we engage with this tool, we also want to talk about this quote that we often cite, which is not quoted in the mural board here, but it's the idea that we often ask students the wrong question. So instead of asking what you want to be when you grow up, or what do you want to learn, we should instead be asking, what problem do you want to solve? And that's where we're going with this tool and what we hope to do. So right now, I clicked on number 6 on the outline. So if you could follow me there, what we're gonna do is we'll put a timer on, probably about 5 minutes, and we would like you can either scan the QR code, or you can just click this link here in this blue circle and play Passion of Purpose. If you're not totally finished by the time the timer goes off, that's okay. You can finish in the breakout room. What we want you to do is not close your kind of game window when you're done. So sort of leave it open so that we can do something with it then. Oh, is the link gone?
Sorry, I just pushed everybody here to where you are, but you can
Okay,
move
but
away.
the link in the mural board is, Mindy, can you post it again?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Something changed. I don't know who changed that.
Hold on, I'll get it.
Or just drop it in the chat.
I can do both.
Sorry about that. I'm not sure what that was.
I just put it in the chat room.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone.
I don't know what happened there.
And we can put it on the mural board too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was there and then it went away somehow.
I put it in the mural board. It's just a weird little link there.
Oh, cool. Beautiful. All right. So what do you want us to do now, Margaret?
So I would like you to go to that link and go through the game for about 5 minutes and just try not to overthink it. That's all I'll say. I'm intentionally not displaying it because I like the moments of delight that are part of it.
We have only 5 minutes, right?
Yes,
Yep,
5
that's
minutes.
all you need.
What I'm going to do just for a second now, I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. Thumbs up.
Okay.
If you guys are on task. I just want to make sure, checking.
Are you at the Passion of Purpose link?
Checking for comprehension, putting your thumb up in the air if you know what you're doing. If you're at the Passion for Purpose link and you're playing the game, I want to see that thumb in the air. Okay, when you're online, we always want to make sure you're really with us. So thanks for being with us. We'll see you back here in about 5 or 7 minutes when we're done playing the game.
Okay, so here was one of the how might we questions that I generated. And this was the one that I ended up choosing to do. How might we use fashion to challenge face detection and surveillance? Underneath here, I can actually click on edit this little button, this little orange button with the pencil, and it says edit how might we. So I can actually go in here and say, well, I actually want to change this to and I can also then change this. So in this example, you can actually just completely modify what you want, right? So I can change it to.
I'm trying to do that, and I missed the. How do I pop open the button? I don't see that in mine.
Right.
Little pencil.
It's a little pencil. Okay. So that's how you can edit it. Right?
And then Mindy, can you model like
yes.
the little scroll arrows?
Yep. I'm going to go back now because you have a back button, and when you go back, you have also the ability to scroll through a number of different choices. And I didn't do a ton of different choices because I wanted this one result. So this isn't a great example, but that's how you can scroll. And then you pick one that you want to go with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you celebrate. Woo! And there's one more. You asked a question, someone asked a question about like, how might you save this? And this is really important for your students, for your learners, because the person who does this, who plays Passion and Purpose, they own it and they control it. So you almost have to ask permission from your learners if they're willing to share, because otherwise you don't have access to what they wrote, okay? So that's really important to understand. But you can ask your learners to download their journey map. And I just did that by clicking a little blue box here. It's the download icon. And what happens is a PDF is generated that you can save to your desktop that has all the answers to every single one of your questions that your passions and your purpose, all your answers, and it's saved. And so this is something that can be turned in to the teacher if the students choose to do so. Also, just really quick, you can share your ideas by just posting it to Twitter or posting it to Facebook, which we invite you to do today, actually, and we would love to see them. That's very easy and fast to do. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and take it back.
All right, I am going to share. And again, if you're stuck while we're going through some of this, feel free to put questions in the chat. Thank you, Renee, for being on top of that. So we just wanted to model a process that we are going to use in the breakout rooms, but we're going to model it for everyone right now. And we're going to do a couple of different activities in the breakout rooms, but one of them is to take our how might we questions and do some brainstorming around things that could be done with them. Whether they're super realistic or a little bit crazy, the process is really important. So really what we're going to be doing is, if it's possible for you in your breakout room to post a screenshot once you get there of your how might we question, just like Mindy did here, that'll be great. If not, if you like lost it or something, you can just create a sticky note about it as well. And so what we're going to do is we'll post ideas about it, just around it. So when it's your turn in your breakout room, the members of your breakout room will help generate some ideas around this how might we question. So if we're looking at, for example, now, how might we use fashion to challenge face detection and surveillance? Mindy's helping model the idea of one idea per sticky placed around or very nearby this how might we question, right? So
Yep.
she has, you could design a line of face masks with messages printed on them. You could create a face painting kit with templates that people can use to paint faces in designs that disguise faces. You could, Renee says, create masks that are cool in the post-COVID reality. Exactly.
Yeah.
This is an older question we had from before, and it's becoming like eerily
Yeah.
relevant.
I understand.
Oh my gosh, if people are posting, I love you, thank you. We can totally, if you have ideas, jump in, go for it. If not, we just practice here and we can do it in the breakout rooms.
I love this.
Fashion
You could
and
just
face
Umbrella hats.
surveillance.
Yes. I can't wait to see people's questions, by the way. Sometimes they're really funny and delightful too.
We also have some brainstorming rules of thumb. Do you want to go over those, Margaret?
Sure, and Renee, I placed them each in our breakout groups too. But what they end up being, my apologies if you were looking at my screen, I'm just gonna go in here real quick. Our rules of brainstorming are go for quantity, there's no such thing as a bad idea, say no to no, and build off of others' ideas. Okay, I'm gonna go back because I feel like we're lost here for a second. I didn't mean to go. Okay.
No worries. Now we're about to break into breakout rooms. And I want to direct you where you should go when you break out. Margaret, you are breakout room 1. And along with you, Margaret, will be your friends Ariel, Deborah, Karen, Kelly, Mariana, Marta, and Nancy. So that's breakout room 1. And Margaret, can you can you model, where is that? Show us where that is.
Okay. So if you look at my screen and you look at the outline on the right side, there's group 1, group 2, and group 3. So if you're in group 1, you just click on group 1 and it will magically take you to my area. Now, Renee, I'm going to stop sharing, and then when I'm in the breakout room, I can share, correct? And then you guys can share in yours?
Exactly. When we're in our breakout rooms, we'll share our screens individually. Okay. Breakout room 2, Mindy, you're leading breakout room 2. And in the group with you is Charlie, Karen Caldwell, Karen Reber, 2 Karens, Renee Hawkins, and Teresa Diaz. So breakout room 2. Then breakout room 3 is me. Whoever is the 812 area code, join us for a conversation. Carolyn, Julie, Michael, Stephen, Weiling, and Yanti. I'm now, is it okay to open up all the rooms now? I'm opening up all
we've got 20 minutes, right, Renee?
We're going to take some time to do some deep brainstorming. The rooms are opening. Join your room, and let's see what we find.
Hello.
So our job now is to put your passion to purpose thing into our group, and we'll talk about what you put in there. So I'm just gonna navigate. I guess I'll import my image from my computer and I'll throw it into the screen. There it is.
Renee, to import, you click on the little left arrow and over in the menu there, the files one.
The one that looks like a photo, an image icon. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. It says images. And then you click on that, images, and then it will say, do you want to import that image? And then you click on import. And then when you click on import, see it says from your computer, from Dropbox. So
Yep.
import from your computer and voila. Ah, interesting. Okay, so we definitely have some TV related ones, right? Right?
Hi, Renee.
Who else needs
Can
help
you hear
here?
me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So this is Salome. I'm on my way to Chicago, so I'm just joining you through my cell phone. I cannot do any design work. I'm just listening
Understandable.
how you are working.
We're glad you're here. We're glad you're watching. I'm going to read aloud some that are coming up in our group.
Okay.
We've got two that are definitely about TV. How might we use watching comedies to challenge microaggressions and violence? Love that. And how might we use 30 Rock to challenge the educational status quo that only helps the top 10%? Then we have one, how might we use nature to advocate for active student learning and engagement? And then let me make this one a little bit bigger here. Hold on here. What's this one say? How might we use writing, video editing, having deep conversations with people to help others overcome their self-doubts about themselves? Those are deep. Well, let's just brainstorm. What are some possibilities? You guys talk and somebody in the room will put a sticky note. Don't feel like you have to do the sticky note. We can just talk, and the sticky notes somebody will put them down. So, how might we?
So do you want details or just like solution, product? What's like?
Brainstorm crazy ideas. What's your thought, Jonathan?
Well, you know, different stuff.
Carolyn, Wei Ling, Julie, what do you think?
So I'm looking at how might we use watching comedies to challenge microaggression and violence. I always think stand-ups are great to have those kind of conversation. Watching stand-ups.
Stand-up. So what if? And do you think that you could find a stand-up comedian who is actually commenting about the topic of microaggression and violence?
I would think Dave Chappelle has very good stuff that he talks about racism, his own experiences.
So I'm writing, use a clip from Dave Chappelle and do what with it? What could happen?
Let's say if we were to do this in a classroom, right? To play that clip, a short clip, and have students talk about their thoughts, like after watching that.
Yeah. In a way, by talking about something, it's not personal, right? So it's not like I have to tell you any of the microaggressions that I've felt, right? As a oversized white lady, right? It's that I'm actually talking about Dave Chappelle's story. So I can talk more freely and more comfortably. I like that idea. What else? How might we use 30 Rock to challenge the educational status quo that only helps the top 10%? How might we use nature to advocate for active learning and student engagement?
I'm having a little bit of a problem posting mine, but my thought is very much like this. Mine was, how can we use nature to offset the trend that traditional Western thinking is best? So it's hard to do this, but it starts with all knowledge is local and works from appreciating local voices and respecting the elders in communities. Then it has to be opportunities to get people outside of the four walls and the screen to interact one-to-one with the out of doors, which of course we have become very distinct from, and it's very difficult to get people outdoors. So I don't have an answer to that.
That is really a great point, though. In a way, Carolyn, in order to use nature to advocate for active learning, you have to get them out into nature, like forest kindergartens, or even just a day, right? Out in nature. Great idea. What else? How might be?
Caroline, am I muted? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. I was, Carolyn, I was thinking the same thing, and I posted a little reminder. So I put up on mine, you know, yes, we could create outside spaces for learning, but the challenges of urban spaces or places where there aren't a lot of outside space. And I was reminded of, I went to Australia a couple years back, and they actually had in their museum a way to almost create like simulations of outdoor spaces, and it was right in your classroom, so you could feel like you were sitting in a jungle or feel like you were literally swimming in the ocean. And so it reminded me of the possibilities. And I actually just went to a bridal show of all things. Well, this was back in February, and they had virtual weddings, virtual learning experiences, and it just has gotten me thinking for places that there aren't outside spaces, how could we simulate some of that, at least to make it feel like you're there? And I don't know if that would be the same thing as being there, but.
I think that's a wonderful idea, Julie. I once saw a short documentary of a primary school classroom where the kids made a simulated city inside the classroom, right? With the bank and the grocery store and so they basically recreated a community. The idea is they're all members of a community, and it's like the kids built the community inside the classroom. So I think that something similar could be done for nature. Love that idea. What
Julie,
else?
my first instinct is that, oh, this is that we generation where you don't actually go out and run. Instead, you run in your living room. But I just went to a lecture at a local university that was talking about the demise of the coral reefs. And over 4 years, they filmed as they were scuba diving, and they had the camera on their heads, and they allowed us to scuba dive with them over 4 consecutive years, and you could see the coral slowly dying. It was so powerful. I felt like I was there. So I'm a convert.
Okay, let's put that one on a sticky. It was like time lapse. Is that what it was? Time lapse visualizations?
Yeah, and it's reminding me of the same kind of idea where in this museum, they had model classrooms, and you could kind of walk around. It was some combination with your cell phone, and it was kind of like QR codes or a Rasma where you can kind of, let's say, for example, the coral reef, you could kind of go position yourself in one part of this big screen and kind of zoom in, and then you become part of that. And it actually connected to little databases where you could learn about in this case, fish or whatever. So, and then there were other parts that were, I saw this up at MIT where they had wallpaper, for example, that sounded like birds. And so it was a way for you to hear what it sounded like to be in a rainforest, or I don't know, it just makes me wonder if we might be able to use technology, and it's not the end all be all, but to simulate some of those things that maybe there isn't space to do. But if you're sitting in a place where you hear nature, and there's so much research suggests that learning can happen, I don't know, maybe it's a way to create some of that mindfulness and learning and action at the same time.
Nice. So that constellation of brainstorming around using nature to advocate for active student learning and student engagement, that seemed to fit really well with a lot of ideas related to writing, video editing, and having deep conversations with people. So I wonder if we can turn to this one. I'm wiggling it around right now. That's a cool one. How might we use writing, video editing, and having deep conversations with people to help them overcome their self-doubts about themselves?
So I wrote there the like short self-documentary of people, you know, sharing like an experience of self-doubt, and then somebody else reflecting to them that they, you know, it was on them to like have doubt, but they, you know, they shouldn't have.
Well, the writing process is such that we say when we can take what we think and put it on paper, we see what we do and do not know about a subject. And so writing would help overcome self-doubts by starting to analyze where we are in our thoughts, and then be able to use other strategies like meditation, calming techniques, positive self-talk, etc., to fill in those self-doubts that we see through our writing.
Boy, that is great. I'm just capturing some of those. That's really great. You said meditation and positive
self-talk.
Yeah.
What Carolyn just said, I've seen my daughter, who's a middle school counselor, and you know, now especially working remotely with kids through Zoom, and she's had them journal, and she doesn't know as much about digital storytelling, but she's seen the power of just kind of having them privately journal and then bring some of their issues, if you will, or concerns into the joint space, and then kind of working through whether, you know, it's a little bit of meditation or self-reflection. She's seen a little bit of the power of that.
Nice. Okay, well, I think we have one really well-developed idea here with the, and we have basically a nice theme here to bring back to our room. So I'm going to close the rooms down, and we'll go back to our main group in 30 seconds.
Nice to work with you all.
Okay, Margaret and Mindy, we're back.
I know, that wasn't even
way too fast.
Yeah.
So, well, we didn't time that quite right, but I think what we should do is we should ask, kind of open it up a little bit, perhaps, Renee, and let's solicit some input from folks, because I think one of the things that we were really hoping to do today is just to kind of get a sense of what you think of this tool. One of our goals is to build a facilitator and educator guide for the tool and make it more broadly available. It's free, it's open source, it's available to you now. The URL will be shared with you. It's passionatopurpose.io, all one word, passionatopurpose.io. We want you to use it. We want you to share it with your colleagues, but we'd also just like to hear, how might you use this? What is evoked in you as you've been playing and engaging with this tool? How do you think your learners would respond? And we would just love to hear you chime in with some feedback for us.
Please feel free to raise your hand if you have a contribution. I see Ariel, you have your hand raised. Up, use your microphone.
I'm sorry, I'm going to talk from the point of the vocational high school. So we have a pre-exploratory, and I would use it in my high school in the pre-exploratory, where we use the tools in regards to getting the kids to understand what career they would go into. We have 16 shops. This would fit perfectly within that. And I'm actually designing right now pre-exploratory for online in September. And I'm going to follow up with you. How do I use it? How do I get permission to use it online? And actually, I was talking yesterday to someone about it. So this is perfect timing from that. And I won't talk about my personal stuff of how I use it.
Thanks, Ariel. What are your thoughts about this tool? Karen?
I think I would use it. I always struggle when the kids, like the 8th graders, have to find their research topic, what they want to research. I mean, and struggle with what they want to do. And I thought maybe that would be a great way to help them come up with some ideas.
Great suggestion, Karen, and then Kelly.
I think right now a lot of my students are feeling lost, regardless of whether they're returning in the fall or not. And that includes my grad students. And I also advise doctoral students at another institution. And I think what I loved about this is that because it was so accessible to me, I was forced into doing something that I would normally not share publicly. But man, did it help me to just for today determine what's important to me. But so many students are feeling this uncertainty, and it helps them to think, what is it I care about, and what issues, what skills do I bring? So yeah, I just love that it forced me to think about things that I had no idea I'd be thinking about today. And I think it's just really helpful that my students would have this available to them as well, no matter what their level or whether they're starting the program or just finishing.
Thanks for sharing. Kelly, then Mariana, and then Renee.
Hey, this is coming at such a magical time for me and my students and our school. I'm on the instructional leadership team at my school, and we are now in the process of forming student curriculum groups and just completely revamping everything so that students are co-creating curricula with teaching staff. Wow. So I already sent all of these links to my principal and colleagues, because frankly, we're in a crisis. Our kids do not see themselves reflected in the curriculum, and it's not acceptable, and it needs to stop, and it's not necessary. So this is a very, very powerful tool that I think is really going to support us in that work. So thank you, Amelia.
Thank you. And I just want to chime in here and say that there is, and you can talk to us offline at another point, but there is a way to scrape the data, and for you to do, if you were to do a whole school, for instance, and have all your students participate, there's a fee involved in doing that, but you could look at what your students are saying has data, and you could begin in a teacher, PD, to start to theme that out and to see what the curricular connections are with student interest and passions and purposes with your existing curriculum.
That's cool. That's Mariana, you're next, and then Renee.
I'm going to try to do the neighbor doing construction here, so forgive me if we have loud noises here. I love this. It's so playful. I've led a number of teacher training sessions around design sprints, using design sprints to try to the project ideas and to get teachers that tool that they use. And coming up with how might be is always the tricky part. And I love how tangible this makes it. The connection between what you care about, your passion, and action, and something that you can actually do.
Mariana,
I was a little, I must confess that I was a little overwhelmed with multiple screens, the mural, and because the mural swirls around, I couldn't find a part of the page. Can you hear me?
Mariana, we're struggling to hear you. I'm going to invite you to put your comment in the chat. No, the connection is bad. It's not good. Will you make your comment in the chat, and then we'll turn to Renee.
One of the things that kept coming up with our teachers as we shifted from a face-to-face, we're all here on this campus together, to the online world, is this, there really wasn't enough time to develop an interactivity, and what interactivity we had was primarily through Google Docs, sharing docs, writing things. So I love this, that we can see students thinking in real time, and other students can see that. And I love that the sticky notes can be moved around and manipulated, and it's very interactive. And I think a teacher will appreciate this ability to lay out what they're hoping to get done in the class. And so it gives them some of that, I hate to use the word, but control or influence over their curriculum, but also giving students more voice and choice. So I'm definitely going to share this as we move in early next week to start thinking about our hybrid approach to teaching next year or in the fall.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Mindy, you get the last word.
Oh gosh. Thank you all. This feedback is great. I want to invite you to reach out to Margaret and myself if you're interested in more ideas, if you have thoughts after this about ways that we can provide an educator guide. I think, we're really just interested in seeing how people might use it, and we're really want to make sure that you all know that it is live now, and all of you, it's open source and free. So please use it.
So next week we'll send you an email with all the links to access that, with some details about how to reach Mindy and Margaret. And a copy of this recording for people who didn't see it. So let's give Mindy and Margaret a big round of applause for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for contributing, Mindy. We are so happy to have you as part of the Media Education Lab community. Thanks for joining. I'm Renee Hobbs. Come back and see us again sometime, all right? Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.